Hello and welcome to Greatness Radio. I am your host, Monica Carter Tagore, bringing you information, inspiration, and occasionally even interviews to help you show up at your best. When you've made the decision to go for your own greatness, this is the place to be. Let's get to it. I get a lot of people who talk to me about being perfect. They say they're perfectionists, and as soon as I hear someone say they're a perfectionist or they start talking about perfection, I groan a little bit inside. I groan a little bit inside because they're getting in their own way. They're preventing their own progress because, you see, I believe that the illusion of perfection is just a procrastination tactic. It's just a way to somehow stall you, to keep you from going for what you truly want or truly desire. Because a lot of times people say, well, oh no, I can't do such and such until it's perfect. I can't publish my book until it's perfect. I can't release this project until it's perfect. I can't do whatever the thing is until it's perfect. What they don't realize is that, again, perfection is an illusion. Nothing is perfect. Number one. Number two, what they don't realize is that perfection, the idea of perfecting something can only happen after that thing is done. How can you perfect something that's not done? Because just by virtue of whatever it is, you do something and then you improve it. You do something and you refine it. That is the act of perfecting. It must be done first and then it must be improved. So if you are getting in your own way with this talk of perfection, then know that you're just stalling. Know that you're preventing yourself from doing anything possibly at a very high level because of this illusion of perfection. Unless you're a brain surgeon, you probably don't need to be perfect. In fact, I think the better approach is to work in a spirit of excellence. Work in a spirit of excellence that pushes you to perform at a high level. But don't be handicapped by the idea of perfection that simply, it doesn't allow you the room to make mistakes. It doesn't allow you the room to grow. It doesn't allow you the room even sometimes to begin on something. The idea of perfection just stalls so many people. It prevents so many people from producing some fine work simply because they're afraid that it won't be perfect. And so because they're afraid it won't be perfect, they're afraid to even start. They're afraid to even start, and so that means they don't get a chance to work in it, to get it done, to refine it, to make it better and better and better. Don't let that be you. If you have been someone who's been wrapped in this whole idea of perfection, if you've been someone who has been stalling on doing something pretty great because you didn't think that you could get it just perfect, if you have been someone who has been full of ideas but who hasn't really acted on any of them simply because of the fear of not doing them perfectly, then this message is for you. Stop trying to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion. Perfection is a stall tactic, a procrastination tactic to keep you from producing some very fine work. You can get a lot done once you get rid of that whole notion of perfection. This is not to say that you're going to do sloppy work. This is not to say that you're going to turn in mediocre work. This is not to say that you're going to simply do whatever the basic. No, this is about releasing you from these preconceived notions of what perfection is. This is about releasing you to get started, to do the work, and to do it at a high level. Because once you replace the idea of perfection in your mind with the idea of excellence, then that will push you to get in there and start. That will give you the freedom to grow. And it will give you the freedom to experiment and to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes so that you can perform at a higher level. When you replace the idea of perfection with the idea of excellence, then that is going to push you to get in there and to learn more. It's going to push you to perform at a higher level than perhaps you would have otherwise. And it's going to allow you to do things probably much better than if you were chasing perfection. And get this, the idea of perfection for many people, it keeps them living in their heads, but it also prevents them from doing anything significant. People who say, oh, I'm a perfectionist, in many instances, that's just code for the fact that they think a lot, but they don't do a lot. And they're not doing a lot because, again, they're preventing themselves from stepping out to perform and to perform at a high level. So don't let the idea of perfection keep you from your potential. Don't let the idea of perfection keep you from your gift. Don't let the idea of perfection keep you from your greatness. Your greatness sometimes is messy. When you're working in your greatness, it's not a straight line. It's certainly not about perfection. It's about getting in there, and it's about making something happen, even if you have to do it in a messy way to start out. And in fact, greatness is not about having an ideal life. It's not about having a perfect life. It's not about being perfect. Greatness is about doing something, living an amazing life, achieving something despite the imperfections all around, despite your human frailties, despite your human imperfections. That's what greatness is. Greatness is about making something remarkable out of unremarkable circumstances. It's about doing something truly worthy, even when you have to start out looking at something that seems like it's pretty common or ordinary or just not very good. Greatness is even about turning your struggles and your strains and your sacrifices into something that shines. That's what greatness is. It's not about perfection. It's about turning your circumstances. It's about turning your gifts. It's about turning even your trials, tribulations, and stresses into something that matters, something that's significant, something that can touch lives. That's what greatness is. When you see your life from the perspective of excellence rather than perfection, you can be free to live and breathe your greatness. You can be free to start to approach life from a different perspective. You can be free to start experimenting on some things. You can be free to start trying some things, knowing that not everything is going to turn out perfectly, and that's okay, because you're working in a spirit of excellence where even if it's not perfect, it's at a very high level. Stop trying to be perfect and go for your greatness with a spirit of excellence. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to go to iTunes and subscribe. And tell a friend too, so they can live and breathe their greatness. And for more free information, inspiration, and ideas, be sure to go to monicacartertagore.com/greatness-newsletter and join the newsletter so that you get all of my best strategies, ideas, and information on freeing your greatness. In fact, go there now and you can get the Greatness Starter Collection, which is 3 free resources to inspire and inform you on your path to greatness. You have it in you? Go on. Set your greatness on fire.